Okay, you guys, normally I'm making these driving around videos when I'm door knocking. However, today is a special day. As of less than a month ago, I have been a co-host for short-term rentals. I have a buddy of mine, actually my old boss, who has a lot of Airbnbs, short-term rentals, and he is transitioning some of his closer properties that he basically he has a bunch of local properties, and then he has a bunch out at the coast. Those are a lot harder to manage because they're like 2 hours away. However, there is properties that are much closer, and I am helping with the transition. In fact, it's kind of transitioning to me. So I'm basically co-hosting, and what that entails is, now that I've been doing this for a couple weeks, a lot. That includes getting new kitchenware and switching out the old stuff, the stuff that doesn't match, that's old, that has chips in it, and taking it to Goodwill. That includes installing smart locks, because when you take over from a property management company, you need to have a new lock on there. So I did that 2 days ago. And when the cleaners came yesterday, they had a very difficult time getting in because none of the codes that I was sending were working. So now I'm driving 45 minutes back to this beautiful Airbnb on the Sandy River to figure out why it's not working when it was working when I left. Probably have to restart it, reconnect it to the router, do something on the app or whatever. I don't know, because I saved my fingerprint to it. They have these little e-cards. I left one of those there for emergencies. I generated a passcode, tested it out. It took forever installing the thing, and then I had to download the app and register and blah, 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 all this stuff to basically take over the management of an Airbnb, which is quite extensive. And then on top of all that, they have certain platforms that they're using, such as Guestly and Wheelhouse. Guestly is an overarching communication application to communicate with all the different platforms and keep the house cleaners, the platforms, people inquiring about things, asking questions, potential guests, all that stuff, right? So it's overarching application that they're not really fond of. So we're going to, and when I say we, I mean me, start looking into other alternatives. And then on top of that, Wheelhouse is a dynamic pricing tool, which is used. It integrates with Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, all that stuff, and helps kind of fluctuate the pricing based off of availability. For example, during the wintertime, it'll automatically know to lower prices because there's less people traveling. And during the summertime, it knows to increase prices. And it bases this off of some type of artificial intelligence algorithm. I'm not represented by Guestly, not represented by Wheelhouse. This is just my own experience, utilizing these tools for the last couple of weeks. But they do dynamic pricing using artificial intelligence, and of course looking at everything around it, right? Like if everybody around you is booked for 3 months solid and you have one availability, that price is gonna be really high. But if everything is empty, you have to lower your price to compete, right? So that's Wheelhouse kind of in a nutshell, and they don't really like that one. So we're going to start integrating Price Labs, which is more of an industry standard from what I've been gathering and talking to other people. I have a really good friend named Shona. She is starting this journey as well with midterm rentals. So she has a bunch of midterm rentals herself. I have a bunch of long-term rentals, and we are both kind of simultaneously picking up this co-hosting role of working with other people. So I know what it's like to manage long-term rentals, not so much short-term rentals, but I'm, working with my old boss here and a couple other equity partners, and we're figuring it out. Shona obviously has a really good grasp on what she's doing with midterm rentals, and now she's just helping other people, do that by co-hosting, which is completely different than property management, right? Like, we don't take money from people. We're not the final decision maker. We're just working with and for the owners and basically trying to make their jobs a little bit easier, but they're still involved. So that's kind of basically the breakdown of why I'm traveling right now. Is on top of everything else that I do, door knocking on the weekends, cold calling, looking for multifamily wholesale deals, trying to find a flip. I am now adding Airbnb co-host to my list of things, and YouTube star. Don't forget that. And it's pretty interesting. It's definitely challenging. There's just so many little things that you don't think about. I mean, you're basically running a hotel, and it's even harder than that because it's not all in one spot, right? Like, all of these properties are spaced out at least a good, 10, 15, 20 minutes. This one's 45 minutes away from me. So unfortunately, this is the one I got to drive back to after, the smart lock's not working. But there's a lot of things to think about, right? Like, ordering toilet paper, coordinating with the, cleaners, finding them, getting, bidding that out, making sure that you're getting a fair price and they're getting a fair price, that the property is being cleaned to, really high standard, because if not, you'll hear about it from guests. You got to make sure that you have Kleenex boxes available. You got to have the paper towels, the toilet paper, the linens. Got to make sure that you have cleaners for everything, right? You got to have, floor cleaner. You got to have hand soap, all that stuff. So you constantly got to be making sure that the cleaners are helping you, keep an eye on that stuff and ordering it when it's needed. So there's a bunch of stuff involved with co-hosting / helping, manage Airbnbs. And I just wanted to give you guys a quick little breakdown on my experience with that so far. If you guys have any other particular questions about that, feel free to comment down below.